kingdoms and all our favorite wars. They
Oh, you scared me. You okay?
Yeah, it's dead. But... Richard... he's... gone.
I'm sorry.
films after we saw him die.
It's my fault.
Sanctimonious bastard.
I should have
Though its story is
watched out for him.
Spiral was made by
I
Saw
found a
Veterans,
pharmaceutical
including several
room.
producers
I think I
who
can
worked
come
on
up with
every
something
single
useful.
film.
Be
Darren Lynn
there.
Bousman was hired to direct, returning to the franchise after
I'm glad you're still okay.
While James Wan directed the original, Bousman took over to do Saws 2, 3, and 4, meaning he solidified the Saw look and style, which he brings to Spiral with some alterations that make it feel more modern, like having songs on the soundtrack by 21 Savage. Bousman clearly loved it, and it's to Spiral's benefit that he returned and made it look congruent with the other films. Also returning to the franchise are screenwriters Josh
This
Stolberg
room is
and
equipped
Peter
with all
Golding,
sorts of medical
who wrote
supplies.
Jigsaw. They had been
Want me to treat your wounds?
Yeah, would you? Thanks. Be strong, Rebecca.
Take care, Chris.
writing Jigsaw 2, which would have delved into more John Kramer backstory, when Saw producers Mark Berg and Orrin Holt told him to drop everything they were doing. Chris Rock had mentioned that he'd love to do a Saw film, and Lion King Vice Chairman Michael Burns said, let it be so. Only 6 months after Rock pitched the idea at a birthday party in Brazil, a script was written.
Wesker?
Chris, you're alive.
My words exactly. Where's Jill? Thought you were with her.
Yeah, I know. We got separated.
I see. Anyway, we better find a way out of here before we turn into zombie food. Got any suggestions, Wesker?
We should get a better grip on the situation. There must be areas still to be explored in that other mansion. Chris, I want you to check them out one more time. I'll continue my investigation here.
Sure thing.
Something like a cross between Seven and... hours. He told the writers to write a straightforward song and that he would provide all the comedy. Don't give me a strap where you're writing me a line and thinking funny. I'll take care of that part. Though there are plenty of funny moments, and the comedy isn't overdone, a lot of Rock's humor falls flat for me. The rest of the screenplay is even worse. Have always been a part of the franchise. They usually only take up half the film, with the other half devoted to sick and twisted crap plot. In Spiral, the top plot is the whole kit and caboodle. I like that it deals with the people, especially since it was made before the summer of 2020. Because of that, it doesn't feel like it's trying to avoid a hot topic. Still, it doesn't engage with that theme in any meaningful way. The characters and story beats are cliche and uninteresting. In fact, as it goes on, Spiral becomes the unthinkable, a boring Saw movie. Full disclosure, Chelsea and I promoted Spiral when it first came out, with a video highlighting 5 things we loved about the movie. I stand by those 5 things, and everything I said in that video, we wouldn't lie to you. But I'll admit, I'd have had a hard time coming up with a 6th item, because outside of the strengths we talked about there, I wasn't a fan of this movie. Maybe I'm just too attached to the first 2. No problem. But Spiral ultimately left me disappointed. 24, I love the song. No matter how connected it is to the rest of it, a Saw movie's gonna have tons of gore. That's why today's episode is sponsored by Bright Cell. We're halfway through spooky season, but other holidays are right around the corner. As good a reason as any to stock up on wine, especially when you can count on the wine from the pay-per-view personal page. A quick little wine review helps Bright Cellars determine the best bottles to send to you. I rated my previous bottle, the one that on this time around for you. As always, your selection included informational cards, allowing you to learn while I imbibe. You can get 4 bottles, and you can deliver to your door. Plastic just take the link and use the description. There, you'll make the wine and get 60% off your first order. That's a huge savings. Just follow the link in the description. Take their simple quiz and get started. Much like the Necronomicon, the Book of Saw is probably written in blood. See what our ink supply is like into the kill. The movie begins with fireworks. Hide your dogs and try my young. Some straw-hatted mofo is walking around a carnival when he sees a guy in an Uncle Sam. The movie begins with fireworks. Hide your dogs and try my young.
This is Brad. If you can't answer me, somehow give me a sign.
Guy in an Uncle Sam getup.
Krista Brad, can you hear me?
Trust those Uncle Sam. Always
Brad.
steal and or murder. The man who looks like he's vacationing
Damn.
in Cuba reveals himself as police Detective Boswick. Chases the thief through the crowd in a scene they had to shoot guerrilla style, since they never got a permit to film at this actual carnival. Boswick winds up in a reveals himself as police. Detective Boswick. He chases the thief through the crowd and assumed they had to shoot guerrilla style, since they never got a permit to film at this actual carnival. Boswick winds up in a tunnel underground. Dark-Spangled suspect transforms into a hunky hunk of plastic. Boswick gets bagged and wakes up with his hands back. Oh, and also, his tongue's in a bite. And he's in a subway tunnel. Not a great stitch, but there is a TV. It's a pig in a robe with a jigsaw-like cape, but with a noticeably new voice. The filmmakers considered using Jigsaw's voice, but rightfully determined that it wouldn't make any sense, seeing how that dude's been dead for over a decade now. They ended up going with a computer-generated voice. I actually like Saw footage. Good to be back in the old Saw trap again, if we're being honest. Feels like a warm horror hug. Boswick, a crooked cop, can save himself by dropping and letting his lying tongue get ripped out. Otherwise, say hello to drink. You all know what happens next, folks. This is shot like a saw trap, it bleeds like a saw trap, and eventually it kills like a saw trap. Boswick does drop from the ladder, but too late to save himself, so I'd say he got the worst of both worlds. Stop to think about it. If this trap seems simpler than some of those from the other Saw films, that's intentional. After all, John Kramer was an engineer and could design elaborate torture devices. The new Jigsaw copycat killer doesn't have that expertise. The traps had to make sense, and as always, built in a way to work in real life.
Made by engineers, literal engineers, to figure out, would this really work?
They couldn't shoot in a real subway tunnel, so they faked it with forced perspective. Those are matte painting techniques with minor visual effects added to help sell the trick. It's also the same background for both directions of the scene. When they needed to get the opposing angle, they just turned actor Dan Petronievich around. He had to bite down on a fake tongue to hold it in place. Since that made his mouth look big, more visual effects were used to make it look normal size. Finally, visual effects were used for the subway train and to make the moment of impact happen. The digital effects team was led by John Hampton, who worked on the franchise since Saw 3. The practical effects, Boswick's prosthetic head, were made by Francois Dagenet, who's been with the series since Saw 2. Dagenet also worked on Hannibal, made the Tooth Child from Channel Zero, who recently effects on the new Chucky series. What a legend. Chris Rock plays Detective Deke Banks, who likes to go undercover so he can practice his stand-up.
Who the fuck is nicer than Forrest Gump? His best friend was a nigga and a white boy with no legs.
As mentioned, Rock wrote all of his own comedic lines, and in his opening scene, he's going for a like a birthday. Got started. About to get stung. He set the police station. Held at my nephew Garden. This way by now faces the river down. Roland screamed too when he first got started. That's
has the reason for all of this. That's why I wanted to do this in the first place.
Shank is subjected to more than Chris Rock's stand-up as they head to the subway grind. The great long one that goes down a bunch of stairs. Love the style, don't love all of Rock's characters.
We're cheap in the daytime. We could ride a lot of dicks before it's done.
They find the splatter and helpless remains, but don't learn that they belong to another officer who still sees the abomination spot. The beat up USB drive. Yeah, want that thing into a finger on the station. That phrase, I remember. My voice tells me that it's going to help him clean up the police. The cops recognize the spiral in the video as the jigsaw. And John's Randall's dead. This could be a copycat. They find the spiral sticking out the courthouse wall, along with another body. But in the window, this one's got a tongue in it. As well as Detective Boswell.